everyone, welcome back to Crochet State of Mind. In this video, we're going to learn how to do the half double crochet stitch. Be sure to check out part 1 of this series. Part 1 was how to do the single crochet stitch. There's a lot of information about how to do a slip knot, some tips about turning chains and all that. So be sure to check that out before you jump into this one. But you can also start with this one and then go back to the single crochet video later. So first thing you'll need obviously is yarn. So I'm using this Bernat Maker yarn. In the single crochet video, I also used the same yarn. I just had some left over. And so we're going to use some yarn. For that, we're going to need obviously your hook, your crochet hook. I'm using an 8mm L hook from Prim, and stitch markers. And you'll see why we need those stitch markers. And a pair of scissors to cut the ends at the end of your work. And we're going to do a swatch of let's say 10 by 10. We did 10 by 10 with the single crochet, so let's keep that with the half double crochet. So we'll do 10 rows of half double crochets with 10 half double crochets per row. Okay, so this is the swatch for the single crochet, so 10 by 10. So we're going to replicate this but with half double crochets. So let's get started. Always start with a slip knot. Okay, to create a slip knot, take your yarn rather. This is how I create a slip knot. There are many different ways to do it, but this is how I do it. Wrap it around my fingers and then take that hanging yarn and pull it through like this. And I've got this nice hoop. And now loop rather, sorry. And now I'm going to take my hook, insert it. I want to leave enough room so I can come in and out easily. Okay, and that is my slip knot. Okay, the loop on your hook never counts as a stitch, okay, unless otherwise stated. 99% of the time it does not count as a stitch. So to create our half double crochets, first we need a foundation chain. Okay, the foundation chain is just a series of chains. So we're going to do 10 foundation chains. And to do a chain, we're going to take your hook, you have your yarn here. And going back to how I hold my yarn, so I put it under my pinky, underneath my index finger, so it's between my middle and index finger, and I use these two fingers to pinch the yarn here to keep it steady and stable. Okay, and then I just feed the yarn by moving my index finger. Okay, so let's start with a foundation chain of 10 chains. So take my hook, do this motion. This motion is called a yarn over. Be sure to have the yarn snug inside what we call the throat. So this right here is the throat of the hook. Okay, you want the yarn to go in the throat, okay, so that you can pull it through. Okay, so you're going to yarn over, pull this through your loop, and now you've created one chain. Okay, and you're going to do this again. Yarn over, pull through the loop, and there you have it. Okay, so we've created 2 chains, 1 and 2. Remember, this one does not count as a stitch. So 1, 2, yarn over, pull through, that's 3. Yarn over, pull through, that's 4. Yarn over, pull through, that's 5. Yarn over, pull through, 6. And if you get lost, you can always count. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You do not count this. Okay, we need 10. So 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I've got my foundation chain, which has 10 chains. Okay, row 1 is what we're going to start. Row 1 is your actual half double crochet row. Okay, and we're going to do 10 rows of that. But first we need turning chains. As I explained in the single crochet video, a turning chain helps create the height of the next row. Okay, now I typically do not use turning chains for my projects, so my cardigans, my baby cardigans, adult cardigans, garments, wearables, I do not use turning chains. However, I learned how to crochet in Catholic school when I was about 19 years old. And the way I learned was you always add turning chains for your next row. So they're called turning chains so that you can turn. So I'm going to teach you using the standard traditional method of using the turning chains. For half double crochets, you're going to use 2 chains as your turning chain, okay? So we have 10 chains here, but we need 2. And I apologize if you hear some noise in the background. We have the lawnmowers mowing our lawn right now. And so I apologize if that gets picked up in the sounds. But so I've got my 10 chains, and now I need to insert 2. I need to add 2 chains, and those 2 chains are going to be my turning chain. They're not going to count as a stitch. We're going to skip them when we start the actual half double crochet row. So I've got 10 chains, and now we're going to add 2 more. 1 and 2. These are the 2 that we just added. So we're going to skip these 2 because we just need those to create the height for the next row. So we're going to skip the 2 that we just added, and we're going to go in that 3rd chain from my hook. So 1, 2. Remember, this one does not count as a chain or a stitch. It's just a loop, okay? 1, 2. We're going to skip those 2. Those were our turning chains, and we're going to go in that third chain. So skip 1, 2, 3. In this one, we're going to insert our first half double crochet. And to do a half double crochet, you take your hook, you yarn over, okay? Always start with the yarn over. If you do not yarn over and just insert your hook in here, you're creating a single crochet, which we're not doing here. We're doing a half double crochet. So yarn over first, insert your hook in that 3rd chain from your hook, and you'll see that you have 3 loops. Okay, and that's how you'll know that you're doing a half double crochet versus a single crochet. So now you're going to yarn over again, pull through. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3. And now you're going to yarn over again and pull through all 3. You have just created your first half double crochet. This is where the stitch markers come in. I'm going to insert my stitch marker here to indicate my first half double crochet of row 1. When I go back to this row, when I turn and start my second row and get back here, I'll know this is where I insert my last half double crochet. So this is my first half double crochet of row 1. This will be my last half double crochet when I start row 2, okay, or when I end row 2 rather. So I just created my first half double crochet. So in the next one, in the next chain, which is this one, and you know that it's this one because the one before that is raised, and you can see these legs, right? I call these legs sticking out of it. So we're not going to insert it here. We're going to insert in this one, okay? And remember, to start your half double crochet, always yarn over first, okay? So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook. You'll see these 3 lines here. You're going to yarn over again, pull through 1, pull through that chain that you just inserted your hook in, and you'll see you've got 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull through all 3. And you've just created your second half double crochet. So let's do our 3rd. We're going to insert our hook here, not here. You can see this one's already booked, right? Because it's got these legs coming out of here. This one does not. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook. Okay, you see these 3 lines. That means you're on track. Yarn over again, pull through that chain, and you'll see 3 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over again and pull through all 3 loops. We just created our 3rd half double crochet. Let's keep going. We're going to work on our 4th. So again, not here. Here, this one's booked, so we're going here. Okay, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through that chain. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over again and pull through all 3. You just created your 4th. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's keep going. Our 5th, yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over again, pull through all 3, and here's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th half double crochet. Let's work on our 6th. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. You've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through. Okay, next one, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through that initial chain. You've got 3 loops on your hook. Okay, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so yarn over, insert your hook, pull through. You've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. This is what we're having so far. Okay, all right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 8 half double crochets and we need 10. Okay, yarn over, insert your hook, pull through. You've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. This is your 9th half double crochet. Now we're going to do our 10th. Okay, and this will be here. Yarn over, insert your hook in that final chain, yarn over, pull through that chain. You've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, and you've completed your 10th half double crochet. And this is what we have so far. Okay, we've got 10 half double crochets. And how do we know? 1, my stitch marker marks the beginning, the first half double crochet stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Remember, this never counts as a stitch. Okay, it's just our working loop. Okay, so I've just completed row 1. This is row 1. The foundation row does not count as row 1. It's just the foundation row. Okay? This counts as row 1 because it's the row upon which we started crocheting half double crochets. So we're going to turn our work, and the way to turn your work, some people turn it this way, turn it that way. However way you choose to turn it, make sure that you're consistent. Okay, so if you turn it this way, like the pages of a book, always turn this way. This will make sure that you have one side that's always the same side. Okay, so I'm turning my work like the pages of a book this way. Okay, now I've turned my work and I'm going to start my row 2. So to start row 2, we're going to need our turning chains, right? Because we just turned our work and now we need those turning chains to add height. And so like I mentioned earlier, we chain 2. So the rule of thumb is for single crochet, you add 1 chain for your turning chain. For half double crochets, you add 2 chains. For double crochets, you add 3. For treble, 4, so on and so forth. So, and that's just a traditional way of doing it. You'll see that many people do not go by that tradition. Many people have other ways, including myself. But I'm showing you the basics and the traditional way of doing half double crochet. So I've got my 10 half double crochets. I turn my work. I'm working on row 2, and I need my turning chains of 2 chains. 1, 2. These 2 do not count as a stitch. They're just turning chains, right? So we're not going to insert our hook anywhere here. We're going to insert right here, okay? This is our first stitch. This is where we're going to insert our first half double crochet. These do not count. They're just turning chains. So yarn over, insert your hook under both loops. So just a second here. You can see here that these were formed when we created the half double crochets. Call them V's because they look like a V. V, V, V. The V's have 2 loops. Loop 1, loop 2. This is typically called the front loop. This is called the back loop. Okay, front, back. Make sure that you're inserting your hook under both, right? Both, 1 and 2. Otherwise, you end up with a different pattern. And that's okay if that's what you're intending to do. But if you're just doing regular traditional half double crochets, or any other stitch for that matter, you go under both loops. Okay, so we've got our turning chains here, which we're not going to insert our hook in. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook under both loops, pull through we have our 3 loops, just as we did before, 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. And now we just created our first half double crochet of row 2. And now we're going to insert, not sure if you can see, I'm inserting the stitch marker to mark that this is the first half double crochet of row 2, which will eventually be the last stitch of row 2 when we're getting ready to start row 3. But right now we're doing row 2. We just inserted our first half double crochet, and now we're going to do our second half double crochet of row 2. Yarn over. You see this V here, so this is where we're going to insert. Remember, this one's booked and busy, so we're not going to put anything here. We're going to put it here. If you put anything in here, you'll be increasing, so you go from 10 to 11. And you don't want that because that's how your work ends up turning into a different shape, like a trapezoid or a triangle. So for our second half double crochet, we yarned over. We're going to insert our hook underneath both loops. Okay, yarn over, pull through. I've got 3 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. I just created my second half double crochet, and we're going to keep doing this until we get to the end of the row. So number 3, half double crochet number 3, yarn over, insert your hook under both loops of that V, pull through. You've got 3 loops on your hook. Okay, and I like to kind of stretch this so that my loops aren't too tight. Okay, so that my hook can glide through easily. Okay, so yarn over, pull through all 3, and I've created my third half double crochet. This is what we have so far. Okay, it's not looking like much just yet, but slowly but surely you'll see what the swatch will look like. So number 4, half double crochet number 4, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook under both loops, yarn over, pull through. We've got 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. We just created our 4th half double crochet, and now let's continue our 5th. So for our 5th half double crochet, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through. We've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half double crochets. Okay, so we're just going to keep doing this. Yarn over, insert, pull through. We've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull through. Okay, next one, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. We've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Okay, let's feed our yarn and get more. So what I'm doing is I'm just pulling more yarn. I pull it from the inside. Okay. Problem with that is sometimes you end up with knots. And so right now I have a knot, you can see, and so take care of that. That's all part of crochet. Okay, all right, so now let's continue. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's work on our 8th. So we're going to yarn over, insert a hook under both loops, yarn over, pull through. We've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, yarn over. This is our next half double crochet, second to last. Insert, we've got 3, yarn over, pull through all 3, and this is our 10th. How do we know this? Because it was the first of the previous row, and now it's the last of that previous row. So we're going to remove our stitch marker, yarn over. You see that V, insert, yarn over, pull through. We've got 3 loops. Okay, yarn over, and we just completed our second row of half double crochets. That's what we have so far. Okay, and remember the stitch markers. I use the stitch markers to keep my work straight. Okay, so the edge, I want my work to go like this. I don't want it to go like that or like that. And so the stitch markers do 2 things. They help mark the beginning and end of each row, so the first and last stitches of the row, but they also keep my work straight, okay? And this is so that I don't have to frog my work. So frogging in crochet is when you have to undo. So the action of pulling the yarn and undoing everything you've done is called frogging, which every crocheter has experience with that. Even the expert crocheters have experience with that. So I like to insert stitch markers to prevent having to frog because of that. Okay, because of inserting in the wrong stitch or adding stitches. Okay, so now we're going to work on row 3. Okay, so we're done with row 2. We're going to turn our work like a page, right? From right to left. Okay, I've turned my work. And now, because I'm starting another row, row 3, I need those turning chains to add height to that row. So remember, for half double crochet, 2 chains, 1 and 2. So now we've added our turning chains, that's our height. And remember, we do not insert our hook here. These do not count as a stitch, okay? So we're not gonna insert our hook anywhere here or here. Instead, we're gonna go here because this is actually the first stitch, okay? So yarn over, insert under both loops, yarn over, pull through. You've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, okay? And I just created my first half double crochet of row 3, and we're going to insert our stitch marker, and that's going to mark the first stitch of that row. And now we're going to work on our second half double crochet of row 3, yarn over, insert under both loops, yarn over, pull through. I've got 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. I just created my second half double crochet of row 3. Okay, so from this point on, it's pretty redundant, it's the same, so we're just going to keep doing this. Yarn over, insert under both, yarn over, pull through. I've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. Next one, yarn over, insert under both, yarn over, pull through. I've got 3, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so we're going to keep doing this until we get to row 10. So I'll come back when I've completed row 9 and starting row 10. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so I'm back. We have completed 9 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows of 10 half double crochets, and we're going to start our row 10, our final row. So again, once you're at the end, turn your work like the pages of a book from right to left. Okay, now you're going to add your turning chains, and remember, for the half double crochet, it's 2, 1 and 2. This is the traditional way. I mentioned before, there are many different ways to bypass this turning chain, and there are pros and cons to this, which I may have covered in the single crochet video. But anyway, so turning chains of 2, we're not going to insert our hook in here, we're going to start here. So let's start with our first half double crochet of our final row, row 10. So insert, yarn over, insert your hook in that V. Oops, grab both loops, make sure you grab both loops. Okay, once you pull through, you've got 3 loops on your hook. Pull through all 3, you have your first half double crochet of row 10. Use our stitch marker, and this makes sure that our sides are straight. Look at that. Okay, we're not going like that, we're not going like this, we're going straight, and stitch markers definitely help with that. The alternative is to count. You can count to 10 each time, and that's fine when you've got 10 stitches. But when you're realistically working on a project, you're most likely going to have more than 10, and at that point, stitch markers will help not having to count every single stitch every row. But anyway, now let's work on our second half double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook under both loops of that V, pull through. You've got these 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, we're just going to keep doing this. This is stitch number 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Stitch number 4. Stitch number 5. Number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, and our very last one. Remove my stitch marker, And this is where I'm going to insert my last half double crochet of row 10, which is our final row. And here we have it. Look at that. So we've got our nice square-ish, probably more like a rectangle, but this is a 10 by 10. Okay, so this is our final swatch of our half double crochet. Now, what to do when you're done with your project and you know that you're not going to add any more rows or any more stitches, you want to cut your yarn and what we call it fastening off. So the order in which you do it doesn't matter. You can fasten off and then cut. I prefer to cut first. Typically want to leave enough for weaving and ends at the end, which I'm not going to do that in this video, but you can watch my other project and see how I do that. But and so I've got this loop here, right? I'm gonna yarn over, pull it through here, almost like I'm doing a chain, but rather than doing this, I'm just gonna pull the rest out, and then I'm gonna pull this, and that is called fastening off. And now I've completed my half double crochet. I can remove my stitch markers. Okay, so what it looks like from the top, what it looks like from the bottom. Okay, now how do you know right side from wrong side? So there is a side in crochet, right? Your project has a right side and the wrong side. And so how do we know? So the trick that I use is my tail, right? We call these tails, right? This is what you started with. My foundation row is here. Okay, you're interested in the tail for your foundation row. So the tail for my foundation row, where is it? Is it on my right side or on my left side? Okay, again, foundation row is this one. Okay, you can tell because it looks slightly different, right? This is where I started. The tail is on my right side, right? Where does it go? It's on my right side. Therefore, this is my wrong side. If my tail, my foundation chain is on my left, then this is my right side. You may wonder, what does it matter? It may or may not matter if you're doing, let's say, a blanket, right? With just this one stitch. But if you're working on a garment like a cardigan, and I do a lot of cardigans, you definitely want to know the right side and the wrong side, because you're typically working your cardigan inside out, right? So you want to know which side is going to be the inside out, aka the wrong side, right? And so that's why this matters. Other than that, I don't think it really matters. There are projects where you definitely want to know the side, others you don't. But so this would be my right side because my foundation chain, my foundation chain's tail is on my left. When it's on my right, this is my wrong side, right? Now, lastly, our rows. How do we know our rows? So for half double crochet, and I do have my single crochet swatch here as well. You can kind of see the difference actually. So here's the single crochet swatch, and here's the half double crochet, and you can see the difference. This is 10 by 10, meaning 10 stitches, 10 single crochet stitches per row, and 10 rows. This is 10 by 10, 10 half double crochets per row and 10 rows. But look at the difference, right? And that's because the half double crochet is a taller stitch than the single crochet, which is why you see this. Okay, now with the half double crochet, it's slightly easier to see your rows because of the height of the half double crochet being taller than the single crochet. You do see more gaps, you see more holes, right? And those can help identify rows. So how I identify my rows is, remember, the foundation row never counts as a row. It's not row 1 because technically you did not do any half double crochets. Your row 1 is where you actually started inserting half double crochets, which would be this one. Okay, this row, and you can see by these two legs, which I call them V's, but you can see these two, not sure if you can see from here, but you can see here, for example, right, these two legs, right, two legs. That's how I determine my rows. So this is row 1, okay, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, row 6, row 7, row 8, row 9, row 10. Okay, so this is how you can kind of see. And if you stretch, this yarn is rather stretchy, so it actually makes it easier to count, right? Because you can just stretch this and you can see the gaps, right? You can see the gaps. and that can help you count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, let's do it one more time. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and this is our foundation row. Okay, so this is how you crochet the half double crochet stitch. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Pardon me. I hope this was useful. Yeah, and so I will see you in the next video. Part 3 will be working on how to do the double crochet, which is a much taller stitch and actually my second favorite after the half double crochet stitch. Okay, thank you very much for watching and happy crocheting. Bye bye.